The Prometheus hung in the void like a forgotten ghost, its hull darker than the space around it. For 3 cycles, it had waited in perfect silence while the Zathran armada assembled at the edge of human territory. Commander Lisa Chen stood on the bridge, her reflection barely visible in the obsidian viewport, watching the alien fleet grow from hundreds to thousands of ships. "They really think we're defenseless," muttered Alex Rodriguez, her tactical officer, his fingers dancing across holographic displays that only he could see through his neural interface. Lisa didn't respond immediately. She'd spent the last 72 hours reviewing intelligence reports, diplomatic cables, and historical archives. The Zathran hegemony controlled 47 star systems. They'd conquered 12 sentient species in the last 2 centuries. Their military doctrine was based on overwhelming force, swarm tactics perfected over millennia of expansion. They had no concept of stealth warfare, no understanding of patience. "Status on the cloaking field?" Lisa asked. "Holding at 99.7% efficiency," Alex replied. "Even their scout ships passed within 5,000 kilometers yesterday, not a flicker on their sensors." Lisa allowed herself a thin smile. The cloaking technology had been humanity's answer to a simple problem. Humans had arrived late to a very crowded galaxy. When the first colony ship, New Horizons, had made contact with the Galactic Council 60 years ago, humanity discovered they were technological children compared to civilizations that had been traveling between stars for tens of thousands of years. The Council had been polite but dismissive. Humans were granted observer status, no vote, no territory beyond their single solar system, no military rights. Earth was told to be grateful for the privilege of survival. For 30 years, humanity had smiled, nodded, and studied. They'd traded what little they could offer for scraps of knowledge. And while the great powers of the galaxy had grown complacent in their superiority, human engineers had worked in secret installations scattered across the Kuiper Belt. They'd learned that the galaxy's great civilizations had optimized for brute force. Bigger ships, more powerful weapons, stronger shields. It was an arms race that had lasted so long that everyone had forgotten there were other ways to fight. Humanity remembered. Earth's history was written in blood and innovation born from disadvantage. "Commander, the Zathran flagship is broadcasting," said Ensign Park from communications. "They're demanding Earth's unconditional surrender. They're giving us 12 hours. "Put it through," Lisa said. The bridge filled with the translated voice of Supreme Commander Vrath, whose species resembled nothing so much as an armored centipede the size of a whale. "Humans of Sol, your defiance of galactic law ends today. You have violated territorial boundaries, established illegal colonies, and refused tribute to your betters. Your world will be subjugated. Your species will serve. You have 12 of your hours to transmit your surrender, or we will reduce your homeworld to ash." The transmission ended. Alex looked at Lisa. He doesn't know about the colonies on New Terra, Avalon, or Ross 154. Intelligence believes they think Earth is our only world. "Good," Lisa said quietly. "Let them think we're cornered. How many ships in their formation now?" 3,417, Alex said. "Battle cruisers, carriers, destroyers. It's their entire third fleet. They brought enough firepower to crack a planet." Lisa walked to the tactical display, studying the formation. The Zathran ships were arranged in their traditional attack sphere, a formation designed to focus fire from all angles simultaneously. It was devastatingly effective against conventional forces. It was also predictable. "Time until they're in optimal position?" Lisa asked. Alex checked his calculations. 4 hours, 17 minutes. They'll reach the firing perimeter for Earth just as their ultimatum expires. Very dramatic. "They do love their theater," Lisa agreed. She opened a secure channel. "All ships, this is Commander Chen. Prepare for Operation Nightfall. Maintain cloak until my mark." Around the Prometheus, Invisible in the darkness, 49 other human warships received the signal. Each one was smaller than the average Zathran destroyer. Each one had been designed not to overpower, but to outsmart. The hours crawled past. Lisa watched the Zathran fleet move into position with the ponderous certainty of a civilization that had never known defeat. Their ships were magnificent, kilometers-long vessels covered in weapon emplacements, their shields bright enough to be visible to the naked eye. "They're hailing Earth again," Park said. "Final warning." "Let them talk," Lisa said. On Earth, President Akafar would be delivering humanity's response, a carefully worded message of defiance that would enrage the Zathran into immediate action. Everything was proceeding exactly as planned. "Movement in their formation," Alex reported. "All ships charging primary weapons. They're preparing to fire." Lisa felt her heart rate increase slightly, the only outward sign of tension she'd allow herself. This was the moment. If the intelligence was wrong, if the technology failed, if anything went even slightly off script, Earth would die. "Commander," Alex said softly, "all human ships report ready. We have firing solutions on priority targets." The Zathran fleet opened fire. 3,000 weapons discharged simultaneously, a wave of plasma and kinetic death that would have vaporized Earth's defenses in seconds. But Earth's defenses weren't where the Zathran expected. "Now," Lisa said. The Prometheus decloaked. For a fraction of a second, the Zathran sensors didn't understand what they were detecting. A warship had appeared from nowhere, directly in the center of their formation, where their own tactical doctrine said nothing could possibly survive. Then 49 more ships decloaked, each one positioned at a critical vulnerability in the Zathran sphere. "Fire," Lisa ordered. The human ships didn't have the massive plasma cannons of Zathran battlecruisers. They had something the galaxy hadn't seen in warfare for thousands of years: railguns. Kinetic weapons that were considered primitive, inefficient, and outdated by every major civilization. But kinetic weapons didn't generate the energy signatures that shields were designed to deflect. And when accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, a tungsten projectile didn't need to be large to be catastrophic. The Prometheus fired. A stream of projectiles, each no larger than a human fist, crossed the distance to the nearest Zathran battlecruiser in microseconds. The shields, calibrated to stop plasma and energy weapons, did nothing. The projectiles punched through the hull like tissue paper, their kinetic energy converting to heat and catastrophic structural failure. The battlecruiser came apart, its fusion core breaching in a miniature sun. Across the formation, human ships fired with mechanical precision. The Zathran fleet, packed tightly in their attack sphere for maximum firepower concentration, became a killing ground. Ships collided with debris. Secondary explosions created chain reactions. Commanders screamed orders in 17 different languages, but the chaos was absolute. "Enemy ships attempting to disperse," Alex reported, his voice clinically calm despite the carnage on his displays. "They're breaking formation." "Don't let them," Lisa said. "Pattern Delta." The human ships moved with a coordination that seemed almost prescient. They weren't faster than Zathran vessels, but they didn't need to be. Each movement had been calculated and simulated 10,000 times. They knew where the enemy would run before the enemy did. Supreme Commander Vrath's flagship tried to activate its faster-than-light drive, attempting to escape. The Prometheus was waiting. A single railgun shot severed the ship's engine section. The flagship tumbled helplessly, its shields flickering and dying. "Open a channel," Lisa said. Vrath's face appeared on the screen, his compound eyes wide with something humans had learned to recognize as fear. "Supreme Commander," Lisa said, her voice carrying across space to what remained of his fleet, "you came to exterminate humanity. You brought 3,000 ships to kill 8 billion people. You thought we were weak because we were new." She leaned forward. You forgot that young civilizations are hungry, we're innovative, and we remember every lesson our history taught us. She gestured at the tactical display where Zathran ships were still dying. You've lost 70% of your third fleet. The survivors are disabled or fleeing, and this isn't even our main battle group. Vrath's translator struggled with the sounds he was making. Impossible, you're primitives, you have no right. We have the right of survival, Lisa interrupted. And we're extending an offer. Withdraw. Tell the Galactic Council what happened here. Tell them humanity is claiming its territory, and anyone who challenges that claim will face the same fate as you. The Council will never accept. The Council will accept what we make them accept, Lisa said flatly. We're done asking for permission to exist. Go home, Commander, while you still can. She cut the transmission and looked at Alex. Status. Enemy fleet is in full retreat. We're tracking them to make sure they leave human space. He paused. Message from Earth. President Akaffer says, and I quote, "Tell Chen she's either getting a medal or a court-martial, depending on how the Council reacts." Lisa felt the tension drain from her shoulders. We'll find out soon enough. Set course for New Terra. We need to check on the colonies. As the Prometheus turned away from the debris field, Earth broadcast a message to every inhabited system in range. It was simple and direct. Humanity was no longer asking for a seat at the table. They were taking it. In the months that followed, the Galactic Council convened in emergency session. The Zathran loss was unprecedented, 3,000 ships destroyed or disabled by 50. The intelligence reports were analyzed and reanalyzed. The conclusion was inescapable. Humanity had developed technology and tactics the galaxy had forgotten were possible. Lisa received her medal. She also received command of humanity's expanding fleet. And when she stood before the Galactic Council to accept humanity's new status as a sovereign military power, she carried with her the memory of every species that had dismissed Earth as insignificant. The galaxy had chosen to test humanity. They'd chosen extinction over coexistence. They'd learned their mistake too late, not that humanity was strong, but that they'd awakened something far more dangerous than strength. Human ingenuity born from adversity. The Prometheus patrolled the borders of human space, its cloak engaged, watching and waiting. And across 100 worlds, civilizations that had ruled for millennia looked at their star maps and reconsidered their assumptions about the small, primitive species from Sol. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.